Hi, my name is Chelsea Williams, and I'm in Dr. DeWalt's ELE 302.001 class. When thinking of four cultural identities that I enact with, I think of culture, sexual orientation, gender, and religion. The most important one to me is culture because you get to see the different traditions and celebrations within each culture and how each family does their celebrations. Um, the least important, I think, would be sexual orientation. Um, to me, my personal opinion is that it doesn't matter what a person's sexual orientation is. I actually have a cousin who is come out and she is gay, and that hasn't deterred me. That hasn't deterred anybody in my family. Sexual orientation is just, it shouldn't matter. It's whatever somebody feels that they are to be happy, and honestly, happiness is the most important thing to have. So that's why that doesn't really bother me at all. In my opinion, though, some I don't think that culture is of a high importance to the society at large. I really feel that the society believes in one general belief, and if you do not conform or believe to that, then others really just don't care. They can be really biased or disrespectful to your own beliefs. Like if you don't believe in something, you could use today as an example in this Ferguson trial or this Ferguson act. Like if you don't believe in anything like that, society could really come down on you because they feel like you're just a horrible person if you believe opposite of what the majority of people believe. I see it a lot and every day. Um, but as a societal whole, I really think that sexual orientation is highly, highly frowned upon. Um, if one is to be different in this world, then their sexual orientation isn't going to match up with somebody else who believes that they're in the right all the time. Um, if your sexual orientation is different from others, then a lot of people frown down upon you, and you can see that in everyday society. Um, these four cultural identities, cultural sexual orientation, gender, and religion all have a way in which they will work in my classroom. I want to really have my classroom be an open environment for all my students to gauge in their learning and make sure that they can feel safe in my room and be able to practice these identities. The first one is culture, and it'll be shown throughout my room with posters and lessons and everything like that. I want my classroom and I want my students in my classroom to understand the importance of different culture celebrations and different ways in which the culture and traditions happen around the world. Religion is another important one. There's going to be a wide range of religions out of all of my students, and that each student practices. And I want to have my class know and understand that every person is different in their religion as they are as well. I want my classroom to be an open area in which my students feel free enough to practice their religions and learn about other religions and cultures as well. There's gonna be gender in your classroom no matter what. You're not gonna have a classroom made of all girls. Um, there's going to be girls and boys in my room, but I'm not going to segregate my room by gender, by boys versus girls. I want to make sure that my classroom interactions are all non-biased and everyone is equal and important. I want to have all my classroom discussions be in a way in which boys and girls are sharing both their sides, and boys and girls are interacting, not just boys with boys and girls with girls. And then sexual orientation. Everybody is different in their own skin, and I want to make sure that my classroom is a non-biased, non-judgmental classroom in which students can come and feel free to share how they feel. There are some biases associated with my cultural identities within the society as a whole. I really think that gender is a big one. You see it every day. It's really gender in a way where it's against women. You don't see women getting jobs nearly as many as what men get for, like, say, a firefighter. Mainly people who are firefighters are men. It's really hard to see a woman be in a man's role as a firefighter. You also see it in the workplace. A lot of companies, even if a woman and a man have the same degree, they're still going to get a man to take the job and then pay them more money as well. It's a big bias in gender and society as a whole. And also sexual orientation. People believe in their own ways, and if others don't fit or conform into that category, then people want to change them or try and change them. And if they can't, then they just don't want to deal with them anymore. Religion could fit under this as well. If somebody's not, say, a Christian in the world, then others who are Christians don't want to have to learn a new religion or anything like that. In my opinion, a pedagogy is the one in which it's your own teaching style. Um, I believe that to have a pedagogy, you need to make sure that it's the way that you feel that you can teach best in your classroom. You can't conform to other people's beliefs, and you can't think of other people whenever you're trying to teach your class. My pedagogy would be classroom interactions as a whole, or in small group. When children work together, they build upon each other and they scaffold their learning from one another, and that's a huge, huge thing for classrooms. I also want to have a hands-on approach. I want my children in my classroom to have learning through doing, and they're hands-on, they're interacting with each other as well. So that conforms into my interactive approach as well. I want them to be able to have hands-on and interaction and talk with others and learn how this helps them or not. I want to have a community classroom. It's a safe place for learners to come and be themselves, in which all students believe in each other. In a lifelong learning approach, I want to have an openness of learning materials in my room to continue the process of learning, even if they are out of my classroom or for longer years. In my opinion, schooling is just going through the motions. You're just going to school and you're just learning this. Education, on the other hand, is an interactive, hands-on approach to learning as a whole in the classroom environment. To have a theory and a lesson plan is extremely important when being a teacher and learning how to do a lesson plan. It sets the goals and achievements in which you want your students to learn and the way they approach. Whenever you set a theory, say you want the social theory, you know that your students are going to have to socialize with each other, so you know that that's a way in which you have to plan your lesson plan accordingly. And then the Bloom's taxonomy all build upon each other. The first level you have is knowing. That's where it's mainly memory. You're just kind of getting the ins and outs. Then you lead that on to comprehension, and that's understanding more and more about what you're learning. Comprehension builds to application, and that's breaking down and applying new theories. Application then goes into analysis or analyzing, and that's just the examination of this new material. Analysis leads to synthesis, and that's the conclusion or drawing everything together, and then synthesis ultimately leads into evaluation, which is the defending of your answers and able to back up your reasoning and what you believe in this.